Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of viewers and listeners are sitting there saying, yeah, me too, because that's often what happens. We're asked sometimes and sometimes not asked to help support our loved ones in situations where they need our support and they need our care. And you don't really think about what the consequences are or what the cost is. And I don't mean just always financially, but like you said, with you and your husband and date night. And, you show up and you do what's needed and you worry about everything else after the fact. But for you, there was one night in particular with your mother in the hospital that really changed everything. Walk us through exactly what happened that night and what did that moment reveal to you about the gap between technology and, like we're talking about, that human presence?
So I'm one of those daughters that when my mom and dad go in the hospital, I go in the hospital too. So I spend the night when you spend the night, and I'm right there. Because you only have one set of parents, and I'm a firm believer after all of these trajectory of things I've done that I need to advocate for the one that I love and the one I take care of. So it was one particular night. There was you know how they had those chairs that led kind of to a bed, and that's kind of what I was sitting in. And I had my laptop as I was working and all of that because I was living in the hospital. And I looked over, and I would get up all the time and go check on mom and just go over and look at her and talk to her and hold her hand and, just having conversation. And I happened to look over at her, and something didn't look right. And as I was walking over, I started hearing these beeps on machines. And I knew enough to how to read the machine for the heart and for the pulse and all of that. And things started changing. And so I got over there, and I knew enough that if she's having a heart attack, what to do if she was gasping, that kind of thing. So I started working in that realm, and I had called for the nurse. Now, mind you, these sounds are going off while I'm doing this. So I'm taking care of her and getting her to get stable while these sounds are going off. About 10 minutes later, they show up, and mama is going back to herself again and starting to go around, but she wasn't quite there yet. So they say, move, move. And then you hear all this, codes that they're calling, trying to get everybody else in emergency. You know how they do code blue, blah, blah, blah. And so I go over to the wall, and I stand up against the wall like this, and I'm fuming. I am fuming. And I'm praying, and I'm like, Lord, please let her make it through this. Let her make it through this, because I don't know if I can get through this day with these people standing over her if she doesn't make it through this. I don't know that I'm not going to go ape crazy. I don't know that that's not going to happen. So when they finally get her stable, the doctor looks at me and he says, are you a nurse? I said, no, I'm not a nurse, but I feel like I have to be the nurse, the doctor, the lawyer, and everything else. And he said, well, you saved your mother's life. I said, and it's a good thing that I didn't leave her here and not be here and rely on you to take care of her, because you're right. I knew what to do because I was in a position of knowledge. What about those people who don't? What about those people that are in the room? And I said, I thank you for getting her stable to where she is today, but I will never forget this moment. And that's where I left it, because I knew if I said anything else, it was not going to be pleasant. Because that's not where I was emotionally, was being pleasant. But what that taught me was that there is an opportunity for us to do some things to help on the proactive side from a technology perspective, and how we can use technology to help us to get a handle on conditions, on challenges, on readings, on things that are happening, so that we can prevent some of those things as they occur. The second thing that it taught me was advocacy is not an option, it's a necessity. Somebody needs to be there to advocate for these individuals. And somebody has to take the interest to learn about what it takes to take care of your loved ones, because you never know when that time period may come up. I took every medical class, every reading. I was out learning pulses and how to read, how to do diabetes, how to take the blood, how to all of these things, colostomy, all of the things that you never thought you would need. But the more knowledgeable you are, the better you are able to serve. So that connection of all of that gave me the impetus to be able to say, I got to be able to do more. And what can I do to do more?